Hey, LiveTunes Nation. Mark back here to talk to you about CrowdSense. CrowdSense is basically what lets the audience react automatically while your music is playing. I wanted it to be as smart as we could make it and in real time basically monitor and track changes in dynamics, setting multiple rules to try to catch those signature spots in songs that would, in a live concert setting, actually trigger a crowd to to cheer, whether it was like the big choruses or that big dropout or the change in the bridge or the big swell in the middle, that when that big moment when the whole chorus comes in, or maybe a soft intro and then boom, the band comes in. So I worked with AI to create what I'm calling CrowdSense. So let's get into this. I want to show you where it is. It's in the crowd control panel here that you can access from the player. CrowdSense is also available in LiveTunes Studio that you can apply to individual tracks, different settings for individual tracks there. But today I'm just going to show you how it lives into the crowd control panel. So you'll see a few controls here. We're going to focus on this energy slider on the left. That's our CrowdSense energy slider. And to enable it, you can either do it right here in this kind of that top center section. You can also enable it from the settings, which I call backstage. You can also do it there. And then if you want to read about it, this little info button right here on the panel talks about CrowdSense as well. So, but let's walk through this. So this slider here is really the key to the whole feature. At the bottom, you've got, if you drag this down, you've got laid back. And as you drag it up, you've got fired up. The easiest way to think about this is CrowdSense controls whether the audience reacts automatically, right? Energy, this slider here, controls how intense or active that automatic reaction feels. So if you keep it lower, the crowd behaves in a more restrained way. They'll react more selectively, and kind of like the room will feel calmer. So it's a great thing for singer-songwriter, acoustic stuff, classical music, anything a little bit more on the softer side. That's when you want to kind of pull it down. You can imagine like someone's sitting down in their chair, okay? If you push it higher, the audience feels more excited, more engaged, and more likely to react throughout the song. So that's like them on their feet, and they just won't shut up. I mean, if you push it to 100%, they'll react to a lot of different moments in the songs. It's a great way to kind of to experience the difference, depending on the music. I highly recommend just kind of playing with that slider. I find 25% is my kind of default go-to of the most natural setting, where I kind of catch both the beginning of the song, a couple good spots throughout the song, and then the closing, and it just feels really natural to me. But you guys play with it and find what works for you. The other thing to note is that if you turn CrowdSense off, it doesn't mean you lose the crowd completely. So CrowdSense is about the automatic reactions, so you're turning those off. But even with it off, you still have the sound design of the room, and you can adjust on the right hand, this slider over here. You can still adjust the audience effects as much as you want, like the sound of that room. I spent a lot of time in sound design capturing the sounds of these rooms, like the people in them, in between songs. You can really hear, kind of like in the smaller venues, you can kind of hear some of the movement in the room, or slight talking. And then the larger venues, obviously, you can still hear the crowd present. So CrowdSense doesn't shut the crowd off. If you ever do want to completely mute the crowd, just tap that little speaker button right there under the right slider, and that will mute everything, all extra sound effects. Anyway, so when CrowdSense is on, that's where things get really fun, right? Because the app starts helping create those live response moments for you. You can hit play on any set list and just let it ride. It's like an instant live show with automatic reactions. So let's do a demo. I've got a track loaded up here. This is a blues song and a dive bar that I like. And the best way to show CrowdSense first is to actually turn it off. So that way you can really hear the difference. So what I'm going to do is we're going to turn CrowdSense off here. And we're just going to hit play. And I want you guys to listen to the song for a minute. You're going to hear the intro come in and kind of like the first moment of the chorus. And then we're going to go back and hear it with CrowdSense. So this is with CrowdSense off. Just kind of listen. So again, I can hear the room. Like they're there, but they're not cheering, right? Neon in the window, ashtray full of stories. You slide on that bar stool like you've done it all before me. Half smile, chipped glass, lipstick on the rim. Say you hate this kind of place, but you keep drifting in. You're my last call. All right, I'm gonna pause it now. Just when it's starting to get good, I'm gonna pause it. We're gonna go back, okay? Back to the top of the song. This time, I'm gonna turn CrowdSense on. I'm gonna put it around, like I said, my favorite's 25%. I'm gonna put it at that for now, because what I'm trying to do is I want to catch the beginning, but I want to try to maybe see if CrowdSense can catch that big moment in the chorus for us. So let's listen to it again. But as you heard there, it came in kind of like as soon as the music came in, right? So imagine that as like the crowd recognizing, oh, I know this song. You slide on that bar stool like you've done it all before me. Half smile, chipped glass, lipstick on the rim. Say you hate this kind of place, but you keep drifting in. All right, I think you guys heard it that time. So that time, CrowdSense is what triggered that crowd to cheer when that chorus came in. So that's a really simple example of what CrowdSense adds. It gives the song those automatic audience response moments that just make it feel more live. It's a lot of fun, guys. If you're an artist or a musician and you're using LiveTunes to like hear your music in a venue with a crowd, which I know a lot of you do, CrowdSense is a lot of fun to just kind of like crank it on, play with the energy slider, and just see where the crowd actually responds to your music. So I want to switch to another track, right, that has some talking at the beginning. It's actually a simulation of like a live show. And I'm also going to move us into a bigger venue. So I just want to give you guys one more demonstration of how this would work. So I'm going to go back to the set list here. Venue picker. Let's do Rockfest for this next one. And for this song, so I'm going to go back just before I hit play. I want to crank up. Oh, wait, you know what? Let's do this. I'm going to turn CrowdSense off again so you guys can hear it without, and then we'll turn on, and then we'll crank this thing up so you can hear how nuts it gets. So I'm going to turn it off, go back, and we're going to just listen to this song for a second. It opens with this guy talking. This is a track from the Studio Sample project that you might have heard already. And he kind of hypes up the crowd, so there's a lot of space in between his words, and then the band comes in. So here's this without CrowdSense in the Rockfest venue.
Tokyo! This song is dedicated to all the fans out there that stuck with us and supported us since day one.
So you can hear, this is just the room. That there, that's just the room. Those aren't crowd surges yet.
Let's go!
So the band comes in. Okay, great. You guys got it. Let's go back, start the track over. It's time, CrowdSense, and we are going to knock it to 100%. Okay? Now listen to the exact same track with CrowdSense on this song.
Tokyo! This song is dedicated to all the fans out there that stuck with us and supported us since day one. We love you. And shout out to LiveTunes for putting this all together and keeping music alive! Let's go!
What a difference that makes. If I leave it on, the song comes in, they're going to keep going. That's all CrowdSense. Here, I'll crank the crowd up a little bit, just in case they... You hear that? I am not hitting anything. So this is CrowdSense doing all the work for you. So the easiest way to think about this is CrowdSense decides whether the crowd reacts automatically. Energy decides how fired up that automatic behavior feels. It's a great feature when you want the performance to feel more alive without manually triggering everything. And if you want full manual control, you can always turn CrowdSense off and trigger those moments yourself. But if you want the audience to feel like it's reacting on its own, CrowdSense is the feature that gives you that. Cheers, guys. I'll catch you on the next one.